Today on Locked On Red Wings, what have the Red Wings been doing well?
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I am a color commentator for Oakland University D1 Hockey, and this Friday, I'm also going to be the play-by-play voice of the Motor City Rockers, filling in for Brady. Yeah, making my professional hockey debut in the booth. So that'll be exciting. Scotty's also the host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And today we want to change it up. I feel like this season, despite on the score sheet, on the record, having a decent start, it's been a pretty negative start to the season from us and just listeners in general. It feels like everyone's kind of down on the way this season has began. So we wanted to shift gears and talk about some ways the Red Wings are finding success in advanced analytics and just sometimes straight up, just like this position group's doing a really good job. So we're going to sing the praises of what's been going well as an attempt to bring some positivity to your timeline on this Wednesday morning, evening, whenever you're listening to this. But before we can get to that, I got to talk to you guys today about FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com today to get started. Scotty, we were talking and we were looking up data and trying to just come up with I mean, these are things that actually exist, but, relate to the listener base, things that the Red Wings are doing well early on in the season here. They are currently 5-5-1, exactly 500 through 11 games. And we thought it would just be a nice change of pace to sing the praises of what's been working. So that leads me to the question, Scotty, what has been working?
Yeah, I think that this is an important conversation to have because we amongst a lot of the fan base have been so critical of the team, and you don't just accidentally go 500 against really good teams for an entire month in the NHL. Like, this is still the NHL. These are all pros. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to go play the game of hockey. Like, it is still very hard to win, and we will always take a win, which I hope we've made at least somewhat clear in our recaps of wins, even when they maybe get outplayed.
Right.
So I think it's important to have a show like this where we kind of remind people, it's not all just terrible. Like, this team doesn't just flat out suck. Like, there are good parts of this team's game, and there are things that this team has hung its hat on, to be honest, and helped them get to where they are. I think I want to start with the power play because it's something we've talked a lot about over the summer and even at the end of last season. This was a power play that ended the year really strong last year and was a really strong special teams unit last season. And going into this year, the thought was, well, it's going to be largely the same group. So there should be kind of no lost feel. They shouldn't really skip a beat here. It should just kind of carry over into this season. And for the most part, it has. I think both special teams units got off to a little bit of a slow start the first 2 or 3 games of the season. But lately, the power play has been on fire. And I think that is, as we talked a lot about yesterday, a testament to Patrick Kane, but I think it's also a testament, like Lucas Raymond's having a fantastic season in terms of just again, a lot of assists, just finding ways to make plays. Dylan Larkin. Like, you're seeing a lot of these guys that, again, whether they were here last year or not, most of them are continuing to flourish when they have possession of the puck, and that happens a lot on the power play. Again, regurgitated conversation from yesterday. I think it's nice to see Seider getting an enhanced role on the power play and then the unit still doing well. That's obviously great to see too. So yeah, I think that's one of my biggest takeaways from I mean, there's an argument that this team is, a 2 or 3 win team if you take away the power play success. There's some games where they literally only won because they got a goal, or in some nights multiple goals on the power play. So I think that it's been one of the most important parts of the team. It's something that the team has hung its hat on for a couple of seasons now, and it looks like this is going to be another really good year for it.
Yeah, I mean, last year, one of the big reasons they found success and were able to overcompensate for their weaknesses was they had a little bit of a run and gun style, scoring a lot of goals off the rush, and then their power play carried them. It was a top 10 power play last year, and it's a top 10 power play again early this year. They're currently ranked 8th in the league for power play at 26.5%. They've scored 2 power play goals in each of the last 2 games, as noted by you. That won them their last game. Buffalo Sabres, 2 power play goals. They won 2-1. It also won them the game against the New Jersey Devils. Patrick Kane came up huge on back-to-back power plays late in the game to lead the Red Wings to a victory over the New Jersey Devils. So the power play is something that they can excel at and have excelled at this season and last season. And I know last year the penalty kill was just outside the top 10 in the league. It was top 15. I think it was like 11th it finished. I know that this year right now it's 29th in the league. They've had some bad luck on the penalty kill, maybe, and a couple soft goals. I've heard of that percentage as well. I do believe that penalty kill is not going to stay 29th in the league. I think that's going to climb. For example, I think against the Buffalo Sabres, they went 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. They also went 2 for 2 against the Edmonton Oilers on the penalty kill. So, it's getting better. It was just a couple of games with massive stinkers, right? The New Jersey Devils scored 3 power play goals against the Red Wings. Given Red Wings credit for scoring their own, penalty kill couldn't shut it down against the Devils. The New York Rangers scored 3 on the power play as well. Those 2 games are massive outliers in this penalty kills performance, in my opinion. I think that's going to get better. So special teams is something that this team has excelled at, and I think will continue to excel at this season as well. Power play already thus far. But I mean, if you want to talk about, and I do think the system does play into this, and I think we'll talk about the system a little bit more in segment 2 because I have some surprising statistics for people. But goaltending as a group has been phenomenal for the Detroit Red Wings so far. I think last night when I looked, Alex Lyon was 11th in the league in save percentage, and Cam Talbot was like 3rd or 4th. You have 2 of the best performing goaltenders in the league to start the season, and that group has done a fantastic job at carrying you through these tough times. So this team is trying to figure out exactly what their identity is, and that has been, I know we have talked about that, but I just want to shine more of an enhanced focus on that because it was a huge question mark going into the season. Do I think they'll be sustainable throughout the entire season as 2 top 10 goalies? If I was a betting man, I'd probably say no. But early on this season, that is working to your favor in an area we were concerned about, and that is a great thing.
Yeah, as a team, the Wings are now up to 7th best team save percentage in the NHL, and it's over 900. 900% is redundant there, but over a 900 save percentage as a team. So that is that's fantastic, and that's even with Ville Husso's first outing of the year there that didn't go super well. So I think that this, to me, I think this is if we were to pinpoint a most important area that this team has been really good at so far this season, this would be number 1 for me. This was a huge concern of mine for sure, and I know a lot of people's going into the season. And while I still have serious reservations about whether the goaltending is going to be this good, top 5 to 7, 8, whatever, even top 10 in the league throughout the course of 82, I still think that's probably a little bit of too high of a bar to set. But the fact that they have been throughout this first month plus of the season is fantastic. And I think that it's another huge reason as to why they have been able to win games. This is a team that is getting outshot pretty much every night, that has horrible possession metrics, and yet is 500 because the goalies have been standing on their heads. So I think for me, that is the biggest X factor of the season so far. This was a group that I did not expect to be very good. I did not have very high expectations for. And even with Husso going down and it being just Lyon and Talbot, they have not only been solid and serviceable, they've been legitimately one of the best duos in the entire NHL a month into the season. And that has been very, very impressive.
Yeah, their team save percentage right now is 907, and that is, like you said, I think you said seventh. Natural stat trick is showing that sixth, so even a step
Okay,
better
cool.
depending.
Yeah,
So,
Bleacher Report says seventh. So
yeah, so splitting hairs either way, that's fantastic that they're playing that well, and it's the main reason you're finding success. It's the primary reason you're 5-5-1. You could call it the difference maker on this early season.
Right.
So we're gonna head to a quick break. When we return, I want to talk a little bit more, kind of break down a little bit of why the goaltending might be performing so well outside of them just balling out. So stay tuned for that in segment 2 of Locked On Red Wings. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now even win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy too, so that your lineup stays in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup alive. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive this $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty and I are talking about what is working for the Detroit Red Wings, and we ended the second segment there talking about the goaltending, which has been phenomenal. But I actually think that, and I'm very highly critical at this point of the system that Derek Lalonde is running. But one area I think the system is doing well is insulating the goaltenders, which sounds insane to say because they get heavily outshot every single game. But when you look at the quality versus the quantity they faced, they do a good job of keeping the quality shots out from in front. They give up a lot of volume, which we talked about, from the boards, from high, but the Red Wings defensive system has done a great job of making sure that they don't face a lot of high danger opportunities. And if there's a rebound, they clear them away. And here's what I mean. The Red Wings, according to Money Puck, at 5-on-5, the Red Wings have given up the fewest rebound shots against in the league at 18. At 5-on-5, they've given up just 18 rebound shots against so far this season. That's tied for first with the Kings, the Hurricanes, and the Minnesota Wild. That's good company to be in, especially because the Wild are off to a crazy hot start this season. So that is a testament to how the Red Wings have been playing in front of their own goaltending. It's also another example of the goaltending doing a good job of swallowing up shots. They're not giving up rebounds either. Cam Talbot, I said it the other day in particular, has been very steady. Not necessarily flashy, but he doesn't give up a lot of shots. He doesn't give up a lot of rebounds, and he makes the saves he should. So I think that's a combination of the Red Wings doing a good job of sweeping danger away from the front of the net when a rebound is given up, and the goaltending themselves with Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon preventing rebounds from being given up in the first place.
For sure, and that's something that we stressed a lot last season, right? Like last year, we talked at length about how this team, especially when they were at their best and when they went on the huge hot streak, it was like, okay, they're giving up, 35 to 40 a night, but none of them are high danger, and you can kind of skate by there. I don't know if it's like long-term sustainable, but you can go on these hot streaks. You can win hockey games at this level by doing that. And I think that, you mentioned Lalonde. This is now 2 years, right, where that has been a reoccurring theme, like a lot of shots, but quality versus quantity type of thing. It's nice. It's a good thing. I still think shot suppression is a need for this team, and I still think we would all like to see them just give up fewer shots in general. But if you are going to give up shot opportunities, the least you can do is make them low danger or medium danger, I guess, at worst. So we're talking about this in like a positive light. This is obviously a good thing. If you're going to give up a lot of shots, push it to the outside, clog the middle. Don't allow them to get in those high danger areas. But I think that there's, I don't think anybody's listening to this is like, oh yeah, like the defense is just totally fine because they're not giving up a ton of high danger. So it's a still room to improve, plenty, as I'm sure we're all aware. But I do think that has helped the goaltending a lot, and I do think that is the reason why they are consistently in games. Is like they're getting outshot by 10 to 20 every night, but quality versus quantity is definitely a thing.
Yeah, they're 20th in the league at 5-on-5 high danger shots against, which is a good thing because that's going from most to fewest.
Right.
So they have the 20th most 5-on-5 shot high danger shot attempts. I think that filter, if you filter it the other way, it's 17th fewest. So they're in a little bit of the middle of the pack, but they're doing a good job of suppressing this high danger. The problem then becomes, though, is they're giving up a ton of medium danger shots against. And I know we're trying to stay positive, but this is a reality, and I don't want to make this just like pure pro-Red Wing propaganda, right? I mean, that's what we are. We're pro-Red Wing propaganda, but like want to keep it realistic. When it filtered by medium danger shots against, they've given up the 10th most in the league, and low danger shots against, they've given up the 9th most in the league. So like, while it's a great job that they're doing a much better job of suppressing those high danger shots against and keeping those shots to the corners, they're still giving up a ton of medium and low danger, and that's part of the reason is because they can't win possession and get the puck out of the zone. So we are aware that, those things are connected in a way. They need to be able to transition the puck out of the zone and win the puck battle once they sweep it to the corner from away from in front, but they are doing a good job of negating rebounds and negating high danger shot against. And I just wanted to make sure we gave props for what they are doing well so far this season. As far as other things that they're doing a great job of, Scotty, what else you got? Anything?
Yeah, I actually want to, plug my favorite stat here. We're gonna talk a little bit of face-off percentage for the people. This team has, after a reoccurring theme here, like a few of these stats we've mentioned, after a slower start to the season in terms of their face-off success, they are now in the top half of the NHL in face-off percentage, which is a great sign. And a lot of that is just Dylan Larkin has been phenomenal. Larkin is at just a 0.1%, so probably 1 or 2 face-off wins away from being at 56% win rate on his face-offs on the season, which is fantastic, especially when you consider he already has like 100 or 150 more face-off attempts than anybody else on the team. Like he is, if it's in the defensive zone, Newsy is going to do everything in his power to make sure that Larkin is taking that face-off. And anytime they just need a face-off win, period, they are going to look Larkin's way. He has more face-off wins than pretty much anybody else has total face-off opportunities, and he has triple-digit losses, obviously, as well. So, like, just far and away, a large majority of this success is because of Dylan Larkin. Joe Veleno has a pretty small sample size, but is, when he plays fourth line center, we'll get in the face-off circle sometimes, and has actually been phenomenal too, over 57%. And the other 3 guys that take legitimate face-offs for the Wings are Andrew Kopp, Marco Kasper, and JT Compher. Andrew Kopp is literally 1 face-off away from being at exactly 50%. So you have another guy that, he's not incredible at it. I think when we signed him, we were expecting him to be kind of a little bit more of a threat in the face-off circle, but he's not a liability either. And then Kasper and Compher are both in the mid 40%. So they're a little bit lower, kind of dragging that total down. But I think really as a team, that is something that has gotten a lot better. And I think if we're really trying to focus, like Larkin has the biggest sample and is at 56%. The team's at just over 50. So like everyone else is kind of dragging down Larkin's phenomenal season so far within the faceoff circle.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first 4 games isolated, they had a team faceoff percentage of 44%.
Yeah.
If you then look, if you expand that to the last, the 7 games since, because that's how math works, 4 + 7 is 11. If Hockey Reference will stop fighting me, that would be fantastic. I would appreciate that, Hockey Reference, if you could.
I'm on Hockey Reference's side.
All right, here we go. The face-off percentage those last 7 games is 55%. So, and in those 7 games, there's only been 1 game they haven't won the face-off battle, and that's against the very good Winnipeg Jets. Right. They had 2 games in a row where they had over 60% won face-offs. Won over 60% of the face-offs in back-to-back games as well. 58% this last game against the Sabres. So winning those face-offs, gaining possession is huge. We saw early they lost a game earlier in the season where back-to-back face-offs they lost and they scored immediately on the power play, the other team. And so that's huge if you're the Detroit Red Wings, is winning those face-offs. Now, here's the downside of the conversation, right? A little dose of reality. I mean, we've pointed out a few things that they're doing well to be at 5-5-1. The chief reason is still the goaltending. And they're doing a lot more, not to be a Debbie Downer, right? Because this is supposed to be a positive episode, but like there's still a lot more they got to get better at if this team wants to be a legitimate shot. But you can see to some degree what the system is attempting to do. And if they can buy into that system, then they could succeed. But the problem, again, therein lies that you're asking a lot of players who are historically offensive-minded to play defensive hockey. But we've talked about that on end.
Positives.
So, positives. They're doing enough right to be 5-5-1, but they need to do more right to get beyond that. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, Scotty, we'll finish up previewing the game against the Chicago Blackhawks, a classic rivalry. Stay tuned to segment 3 of Lockdown Red Wings. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com today to join. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, the Red Wings are traveling to Chicago for a Central Time face-off. So it'll be like, 8:30 is the time of the game? 8 or 8:30?
It is 8.
8 o'clock, so a whole hour later, which stinks if you are like me and have a day job and got to get up early. But
and on TNT.
So it won't be on the FanDuel Sportsbook, but that means it should be on Max, right? If you have
it is on
Max
and TNT, yes.
Yeah. So that's how I'll be watching it via Max because I don't have cable because that's expensive. But, Scotty, the Chicago Blackhawks are 5-7-1 to start the season. A better start for them than last season, but this is still a team that I would not expect to be in the hunt of the playoffs by the trade deadline, and this is a team I would expect the Red Wings to walk into their barn and win. They did last year. It took overtime, but they got it done. What I want to see is the Red Wings actually have a commanding win against an opponent for the first time this season.
So, do you want to place any bets on Kane wearing the A in this game?
Oh, absolutely, he's going to. No, without a doubt. It's not even a question.
Right. I think that's kind of a slam dunk there. This team is, if you just want to test them, like the Wings have looked how they've looked this year, and they are still pretty heavy favorites on the road in this game. That does not happen very often unless there is a huge talent gap. There still is that. Now, we talked about it over the summer. I actually liked some of the moves and some of the players that Chicago brought in this offseason. They're on a 2-game win streak heading into this game. They're 5-7-1. So, if the Wings lose their next 2 games, then that's the same record. So it's not some, I agree with you that they are not like one of the worst teams in the entire NHL anymore. Obviously, there is some really exciting young talent that the fan base is excited about. But yeah, this team still, like, between the margins, just doesn't do enough right to be like legitimately in the mix. They still have not scored very much this year. They have been decently okay defensively, like middle of the pack in like goals against and goals allowed and whatnot. But special teams is kind of all over the place. I guess the power play's been okay, but really all in all, like this is still at best a bottom half of the league team, and at worst is still like a bottom 5 team, 6 team in the NHL.
I mean, this is on paper, the Red Wings are a much more talented team. I mean, they have Connor Bedard, who could and probably will become the best player out of everyone on both rosters. But as of right now, the Red Wings still have a much more talented roster across the board. But you mentioned it there, Scotty. The Blackhawks have a top 10 power play, a bottom 10 penalty kill, and are bottom 10 in 5-on-5 Corsi and expected goals for percentage. Sound familiar? The Red Wings are the same in all those categories. So the question here is, like, what's the difference right here? Well, the Blackhawks haven't gotten the goaltending the Red Wings have. The Blackhawks, Peter Mrazek, who's their starter, who's made 10 starts, has a .900 save percentage.
They haven't for a while either.
Right. So, like, they don't have the goaltending the Red Wings have had this season, which is crazy to say that the Red Wings have had good goaltending, but they have. And I think that's been the difference. Red Wings have been bailed out by their goaltending. But this is still a game where I expect, looking on paper, on the roster, that the Red Wings should be the heavy favorites for, and I expect them to go into the United Center and win by multiple goals. I don't want this to be a repeat of last year. Like, the overtime thriller that Patrick Kane scored on Chris Chelios' banner retirement night, super exciting, but it shouldn't have gotten that far. And if you, at some point, you got to start winning hockey games more consistently, and it starts with beating up on teams that are further behind in the rebuild than you.
You can put it this way. This is comfortably the worst team you have played so far this season.
It is.
And we're a month into the year. That's how crazy your schedule was. This is very comfortably the worst team you have played so far, just talent on roster-wise.
Yeah.
So you should, hopefully go into their barn and beat them up.
Yep. That's all I got to say about it. Go win.
Yeah, go win.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a win no matter how it comes. Don't get me wrong, but I want this to be a statement win. I want this to be like, we are better than this now, because they are. They got to show it though.
Agreed.
All right. Any final thoughts?
I don't think so. We ball.
Cool. We ball. We're back with a new episode tomorrow to recap the game against the Chicago Blackhawks. So stay tuned for that. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.